So, I'm coming into the live remake of Avatar the Last Airbender as someone who not only was obsessed with the original cartoon, but also someone who's been starved for good content for what feels like years at this point. I count the original Avatar show as one of the few shows that is perfect from beginning till end, the only other show holding that spot being Breaking Bad. I was around 12 years old when I first watched Avatar, and I was drawn in by the music, stunning fantastical elements like bending, and found myself moved to tears, but not quite understanding fully why as a child, that it was so heartbreaking to watch Aang realize he's lost his entire tribe, civilization, and that he truly is the last of his kind. As an adult, I've been on the lookout for movies or shows that can move me, surprise me, help me challenge what I know, which is why I decided to sit myself down and watch this remake, even though the showrunners kept coming out with the most questionable quotes. In the opening scene of episode 1, we get one of the best action scenes of the show where an earthbender is trying to escape with a scroll of battle plans. The earthbending here is some of the best we see all season. Did anyone else feel like every time we saw water bending, it was like someone was splashing water onto people's faces? But my main gripe with this entire show, including this scene, is that the showrunners won't get out of their own way. Like a minute into the first scene, you hear someone say, "An earthbender." We move into the revamped intro that covers everything anyway, so I don't know why we had all that exposition to begin with. How cool is that one image of all the avatars standing together on the step? Oh, so good. But they ruin it again with like extra exposition that's not needed when they say this line: "The next master of all four elements, an airbender who may not be ready for the responsibility of becoming the avatar." Why? Why would you say that? Let us discover that. Let Aang discover that. Why do you feel the need to spoon feed that to us so early? Like, I just got here. Let me breathe a bit. Wait, no, because then Monk Gyatso tells Aang, "There may come a day where you wish you spent more time with your teachers." Which child ever thinks like that? What adult, looking back, ever wishes that they'd spend more time with their teachers? Does Monk Gyatso know that they're all about to be killed, or is he saying that because he's coming to terms with his old age? Though I do gotta say, I did cry like 3 times this episode. Like, how am I supposed to like not cry when I see Gyatso tell Aang, "You are strong and kind and generous"? Like, oh. Shortly after, we see Aang run away to digest this information that he is the Avatar and he has to leave everyone and everything he knows behind to train in the other disciplines. And that's when the Fire Nation attacks the air nomads. I'm not sure how I feel about this one, like so early in episode 1. For me, the strongest part of the series is Aang grappling with grief and loss and finding a home among new friends. We're fed this slowly in waves, similar to how grief comes. But here, it hits us like a truck. And honestly, I'm not sure if I was prepared for this. It reminded me so much of what is happening in the world today. And it's a powerful reminder, but I'm not sure what this scene does other than serve as shock value. The creator said that Aang learns about the loss of his home and the impending doom of the water tribe early on, so he knows immediately what he must do. But doesn't that undermine some of the strongest themes in Avatar? Aang's denial, his difficulty accepting his responsibility, drives point home the effects of war, and that it forces children to grow up quickly. How are we supposed to feel his loss of childhood as he assumes the responsibility of the Avatar if we can't see what it is that he's giving up? We're told he loves to goof around with his friends and eat banana cake or whatever, but in the original show, him accepting his responsibility is a journey. Him being frozen in ice is also a symbol of this denial. But if he's ready, the moment he cracks out of that ice, what is left of his hero's journey except for monologues about how he needs to save the world, and then all the adults yelling at him, telling him what he apparently is saying he already knows? There's no sense of discovery for Aang or for us as a viewer. In the following scene where Katara and Sokka find Aang, Katara seems to break open the sphere by accident, Whereas in the original, we see it as a direct result of her anger leading to her break the ice through the water that mimics her emotions. I point this out because I know the actress playing Katara has gotten some flack, but honestly, I think she's great. It's just, I think the writers are missing out on key elements that make her special. Like, she's trying to do the best with what she's given. Katara is a powerful bender and an important part of Team Avatar, but here, she's just a reactive character, kind of being pulled along as the plot calls for it versus being a major plot driver. Sokka says he's the leader and protector of the group, but truly, Katara is. And we're missing all of that. Zuko is popping up around this time in side-by-side scenes as they're discovering Aang, and that's great. They do that a lot in the original, where Aang's journey plays out parallel to that of Zuko's, foreshadowing their cosmic ancestral bond. Honestly, where most characters like Zuko and Katara were kind of done dirty, Iroh and Zuko are basking in the glory of being fleshed out. In summary, I think the show suffers from not letting their characters breathe. There's so much forced exposition, detailing how everyone feels at all times, whether it's Zuko's daddy problems, Sokka's fear of not being a warrior, Aang saying he needs to save the world and that he's scared. The show creators say they want a Game of Thrones-esque show that appeals to the Game of Thrones audience, but Game of Thrones took its time to build tension. They didn't feel the need to fill in all the gaps. They let a character sometimes live in ambiguity, so you wouldn't know exactly what they were thinking, but you had an idea. Reveals and character growth moments aren't that impactful if you're telling us about it the entire time. After all, Ned Stark being killed in the last episode of season 1 threw us off kilter because we had spent an entire season with this man. It's not that I'm mad that the new show is not a frame-by-frame reenactment of the original. In fact, I don't want that at all. I almost never watch Disney live-action remakes of classics like Beauty and the Beast or Mulan because I'm thinking, why would I want to watch real people just act out something I've already seen illustrated beautifully by animators? Instead, I'm hoping that when a live remake is made, they capture the essence of the cartoon while still experimenting with the constraints that live action poses, whether that's through costume design, set making, or choreography. For example, this new show has some of the best visuals I've seen in a long, long time. That scene with Kyoshi, don't even get me started. I had goosebumps watching her fight. But how special is Kyoshi if Avatar Roku is repeating everything she's saying, and then the waterbender Avatar dude says the same thing? What if they were all truly different characters with different viewpoints that serve to challenge Aang, so that when Aang ultimately does forge his own path, it's that much powerful because he's standing against all the iterations that came before him?